Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan, here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to do a quick review of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire card game.
We sure are. And you can probably see, compared to Nathan's hand there, it's quite a small one. It is just a little box with some cards.
Yes.
You could take it on the go. Play it at
can.
home. Whatever you like.
And because it was also small, the price was also quite reasonable at $9 at Target or Kmart? Or
Big W? It might have been Big W. I can't quite remember. So it's a relatively new release. Basically, you're going to do what you do if you were watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You're going to answer questions and, well, win a pretend $1 million.
Yeah, you use all the same sort of lifelines they do on the show. You climb the money ladder.
Answer questions. And whoever gets to the million first is the winner.
So how about I just change the angle a bit so we can sort of see the cards, which you've already taken out of the box.
We have, yes. Now, we should mention, this is 3+ players, but there's only 2 of us aside from our younger kids, and you could definitely play it with 2 players.
Yeah.
It's just trivia, essentially.
Pretty much.
There's just like one part where it's useful to have other people, kind of, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right. So the rules just come on cards.
So 2 double-sided cards.
Yep. We will have, the camera doesn't like them, we will have a scan of those down below, just in case you find this new game without them.
Which would be unusual.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
And then you have some very odd things.
Yeah, so this is to indicate which team you're playing in. Now, you don't have to play in teams, but each person is allocated a team number anyway.
Because you need to basically see where you are on the board of the money ladder.
Yes, exactly. And a safe haven. So that is the spot on the money ladder that you fall back down to.
They call it a checkpoint. So in the Australian version, it was $1,000 was the first one, and the second one was $32,000.
So you secure that money, essentially.
Yeah,
you can't go below that.
So if you got the answer wrong, you drop down to that predetermined amount.
Actually, if you got the answer wrong, you took that and you left, though, then. You don't leave in this game. You keep playing.
And you can actually choose what your safe haven amount is.
Yes, so we'll show you that. But the interesting thing is you might note that there's 4 teams or 4 safe havens, but this is just one piece of cardboard.
Yeah, so it looks like you can sort of push them out, but it actually specifies you have to cut them out with actual scissors.
Yeah, these are not perforated or anything like that, so you have to take a pair of scissors to your card game. Now, we're at home. That's fine, I guess. It seems weird cutting a game, but, at least we're at home. We've got some scissors. If you did think, I'll just grab this and take in the car for a fun trivia game, and then you got in the car and realised you had to do that, well, not so useful.
Same thing happens for the lifelines. Ask the audience, 50-50, phone a friend, and ask the host.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, these are the things you can use to help if you don't know the answer to the question.
Except ask a host. I believe that's specific to this game.
Potentially, yeah. It's been a long time since I've watched the Australian Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but I don't remember that being in there. So each player or each team, if you're playing with a larger amount of people, needs 1 set of these. So you have to cut those out. You can only use them once.
And once they're used, they're gone for the rest of the game.
Then we have these 2 cards, which are double-sided, and they just sort of sit next to each other to show the ladder. So that is up the top there. That's where you need to get to. And then it starts down at 500 for question 1.
As you can see, 1,000's highlighted yellow because that's the first checkpoint.
White. That's white, Nathan.
Yeah, me.
Highlighted white.
Highlighted white.
So you don't, if you got this question wrong, you just drop back to here. That's a safe haven just automatically. But at the start of the game, each team or each person puts their colour safe haven token somewhere else. So you can put your safety net wherever you want. So if you were up here and you got it wrong, but your safe haven was here, you only drop down 2 questions.
But it also means
you can work your way back up.
Also means you have to get more questions right to get said checkpoint.
Yeah, so they're doing the instructions say it's a little bit of a strategy as to where you put that safe haven.
We'll get to the quality of the questions after.
Yes. So this is our last thing before the questions. We have corresponding colours to the teams of A, B, C and D.
The answer cards, I guess.
Yes, so because more than one player can answer the question at the same time, you can't just call out your answer. You have to actually pick your token in your hand and then show it when it's time to show it.
Think of it as a race between players to get to $1 million.
Essentially, yeah. So you would do that, you would hand out 1 set of these, your matching colour, team and safe haven, as well as those. Yep. Decide where your safe haven is going on there, and then someone needs to be the host first.
Yes, the host actually changes throughout the game every turn.
After every question.
Yes.
Yeah. The host can play as well, we should mention. They don't have to be put aside from the game and just ask questions.
But there's a couple of unique rules surrounding the host and if they get questions right or not. So
yes. Then we have the question cards. So there's 100 questions it actually mentions on the box, which we were saying is not a great deal. I mean, you have to have at least 12 asked to get to 1 million. That's if you got them all right. So you could end up going through like a quarter of the deck,
especially
in one game.
If some people kept on getting the answers wrong and going back to a checkpoint, you'd go through a lot more questions throughout the game.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe not a lot of longevity there, but it is only $9.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the top section of the card is a question.
What is a Latin American name for an English-speaking person? Gringo, Ringo, Lingo, or Bingo?
So this information down here, you might be looking at and going, that's not the answer to this. No, it isn't. It's the answer to the question on the other side of the card.
So the host who is asking the players this, the players then need to decide whether or not they're using a lifeline. And if they're not using a lifeline, they need to then get one of their cutout answers, turn it upside down and place it face down in front of them.
So everybody does that, including the host. So pretend I'm hosting. I've asked the question.
Yep.
You have to hide the back of the cards where the answers are, obviously, so people can't see them.
Okay, I'm going to put my answer down, and then you'll lock in your answer.
So I would then, as the host, put mine down as well. If that's if you're using no lifelines. I would then turn it over, and you're saying...
I'm saying A.
A for Gringo. So I turn over, and the correct answer is here at the bottom. I would say, as the host... Yes, that is the correct answer.
So every player that's not the host that gets it correct will then move up to whatever
wherever
value
they're up to.
Yes.
Yep. So say Nathan was team 1 purple, he would move that little token up the ladder wherever.
And say we had
was.
another person, that person would also move their token to if they got it correct.
Yeah, because you are meant to have a third player.
If we got it incorrect, they then move down to their lowest checkpoint value.
Yes. So if Nathan was up here and he'd said, I think the answer is bingo, he would have come back down to here or his safe haven point.
Now, shall we mention why you, as the host, had to answer despite the fact...
Yes, so the reason why I still had to answer was had Nathan had this question and he'd said, ooh, I don't know the answer to that, I'm going to use one of my lifelines.
So, as I said, so you've already answered.
I've put my letter here. I'm putting down the letter A.
And then I'm going to ask the host, which I believe is the question mark. Mm-hmm. And I go, I don't know what it is. What's your answer?
I then reveal my host answer to Nathan, and then he can do a couple of different things depending on whether he thinks it's right and whether he agrees with me or not.
So you go, okay, you said A. Do I think it's A? Yeah, I'm going to go with and say, yes, I believe the answer is A. I think you're correct.
Mm-hmm. We then obviously check the answer, which we know is right. A is the answer.
So then I move up.
Yep.
But then you also move up as well as the host.
Yes, so perhaps I was team 2, I would then move up because I also got the question right and I have assisted someone else getting it correct.
So that's the only way the host can ever move up in the game.
The host only ever shows their answer if that particular host lifeline is used. Otherwise, that answer is not seen at all.
No. If I had said it was incorrect, or that's...
Nathan might have disagreed with me. Maybe I had said B. My answer's B. It's Ringo. You went, no, I'm not putting that in there. Nathan can then put A, and he can still go up, and he can ignore my lifeline.
But it means that you don't get to go up because your answer was incorrect.
Yes. If Nathan goes ahead and goes with me with my incorrect answer, for example, I'd said Ringo, and he said, yeah, Ringo, that sounds good.
Then I go back down to my checkpoint number, but the host stays where they are.
Because it's not my turn.
So the host has really got nothing to lose.
No. But I mean, you would hope your friends would answer right just to be nice, I guess.
So also about that card, the other lifelines, you had ask an audience.
Well, hang on. When that was done, it will go to the next person.
Yes.
So then say Nathan would be the host. And then me and whoever else was playing, we get the question asked from Nathan.
Something dull or ordinary is often described by which of these phrases? Run of the mill, hop of the bill, skip of the hill, or jump of the Jill.
Right, so let's pretend I didn't know the answer. I do know the answer is obviously run of the mill.
You sure?
If I didn't know, I can go, all right, I'm not sure. I would get maybe a lifeline to use. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 options. Pretend we've already used the host one. You can only use them once.
So you've got ask the audience.
So if I say I want to ask the audience, Nathan as the host, make sure his answer is answered first before he flips it over to see the other side. You can use more than one
lifeline.
Yeah.
You flip it over and there is a specific portion relating to this answer. So
relating to the question.
Yeah, so 68% said A, 4% said B, 20% said C, and 8% said D. So I'd give you those statistics, and based on that, you can then answer the question.
Yes. If I'd wanted the 50-50, again, the host has to put his answer card or her answer card down first.
Turn it around, hiding it from the other players, and go 50-50. Okay, so the answer's either A or C.
Yep, so it narrows it down for you, and then you can make a choice.
And the weirdest one...
Phone a friend. So normally on the actual game show, they have someone predetermined to call to then, who knows they're on the show, and they ask the question.
This one actually does specify that you can physically ring someone, like on the show, to ask, or just ask another person who's not playing the game.
So that's the thing with that lifeline. If you don't want to just randomly call someone out of the blue to go, hey, I'm playing this card game, I need help, but maybe there's nobody else with you aside from the people who are playing, and you can't ask them because they're participating, it's a bit of a useless lifeline.
Yep.
Unfortunately. But if, you go from there with calling someone if you want to and get their input and answer it, I suppose. So,
yeah, you can play in teams. You just have more than one person team. You just use the one team token to move up. And it's basically a race to get to whoever gets to the $1 million question and answers it correctly. And you just keep going. You don't get eliminated or anything like that.
No, you just drop down to wherever you've allocated your safe haven or the 1,000. I mean, it's cheap, it's nice, it's easily portable. It's weird that you have to cut things out, but the questions are kind of the weirdest part for me, because on the front of the box, it actually says ages 14 plus. So this is not meant for young kids to answer these questions. But there are a lot of really, really simple questions in here.
Like, I don't know if this is specific to Australia or other way, but it says, which group of people are known colloquially as the boys in blue? Scouts, estate agents, traffic wardens, or police? Some of them are just non-answers.
I mean, we had one, we should have kept it out. So when we were looking at this earlier, we had a question about a fish-eating mammal. Which one of these is a fish-eating mammal? Now, the correct answer was otter. They eat fish, they're a mammal. The other options were like etta, utta, and atta, which aren't anything.
Oh, here we go.
They're not even animals.
Here we go. Here's a good one. Which of these is recognised as a personification of death? The Grim Gardener, the Grim Weeder, the Grim Sower, or the Grim Reaper?
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of those aren't even things. They're nothings.
They're pretty funny. I think that the otter one was the one that bothered me the most. So like I said, the answers aren't even other animals. So provided you know an otter is an animal and like an utter is not an animal, I mean, the answer is going to be fairly straightforward.
I mean, there are a couple more difficult ones, a couple of like era ones and war ones and things, but
if you are looking for a challenge which has more difficult questions, like you would see on the actual show, because aside from the first couple of questions, they normally get quite difficult.
It's like in motor racing, what is a checkered flag signal? I don't need the multiple choice for that. I think a lot of people would probably know what that would mean.
Yeah. That's nothing against the game, provided you've got the right sort of people playing it. But again, if you are looking for something harder, maybe look at a different sort of trivia game.
I'm trying to find that darn otter one, but I can't see it anymore.
The problem is they're double-sided too, so I can't remember where we put it. But yeah, I mean, they're not as hard as they potentially could have been given the source material the card game's based on.
It's a bit more difficult. What name is given to the swampy Caribbean coast of Honduras and Nicaragua? That's a little bit more...
I mean, I know it wouldn't be the Gold Coast, because that's here in Australia.
Mosquito Coast, so yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's just a little issue for $9. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a bit of fun.
There's a lot worse trivia games you can get for $9 that we've played before.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad trivia games out there. So nothing wrong with it at all, but just, maybe don't expect too much in the way of a challenge.
I still remember the PlayStation 1 game with Regis Philbert, I think it was, having a warning saying you don't actually win $1 million when you play this game. It's just for fun.
Yes, we also don't win $1 million here, not for real. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments section down below if you knew that an otter was an animal.
I thought it was a motter.
And an atta, etta, and utter were not.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.